Hey, everybody. Whoops, hang on. Joe, you're muted. There we go. We're back.
We're
I
back
feel like we're not back live, but we're back. We are here.
live and uncut.
For real. Tonight, we are super live, everyone.
Super.
Welcome. Welcome to Tea Time with Liz and Friends. Joe, how is it going today? Happy Labor Day.
Oh, today is Labor Day. I've been asleep all day
Listen,
and forgot it was a holiday.
listen. It's that type of holiday out here. It
Look,
is that type of holiday. I hope everybody got their rest. Tomorrow is a couple people's first day of school
mm,
out here in these streets. So we hope everyone has a great first day. I'm sure everybody is prepping, getting those outfits together, those shoes cleaned, whatever they got to do. But while you are doing that, we are glad that you are tuning in to Tea Time with Liz. So, Joe, what is going on tonight?
tonight we have a exciting episode. Um, I'm excited to see how this is going to go. But first, we're going to do our tea time announcements. Just want to let you all know if you have been following our platforms, we have updated the podcast platforms with new episodes. So go ahead and go on there and check them out, get caught up. If you haven't, or if you saw your favorite one,
See,
back on there and rewatch it.
listen.
And then our next episode will be Monday, September 16th. And on that episode, we will have a secret special guest, a special surprise guest.
Listen, this is about to be hot, okay?
And and it will be self-hate, no cap. That's the title of next episode. So we're excited for that episode to come. And then also don't forget to follow us on our platforms. You got Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So go ahead, go on there at Tea Time with Liz and Friends. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a foe, because just because you don't like it don't mean your foe won't. So
Talk about it.
share, like and subscribe, word of mouth, get us out there, you guys.
Right.
Um, so tonight's episode is titled "It's Not You, It's Me."
Listen, how many of us have said it? How many of us have said it?
And I know that a lot of us probably hear that.
Hi, Coco. What's going on tonight?
A lot of us probably hear that regarding relationships and breaking up and all that kind of stuff. But it goes so much deeper than that. If you really think about it, when we are dealing with other people, it's so easy to look at what other people are doing and looking at their characteristics and their flaws and how they have made you mad, or you don't want to deal with them because this, that, and the other. But this episode is about
you, personally, you. Listen.
It's not you, it's me.
It's me. Yes, because I think this goes for everybody. I don't think it's just a woman thing. I think it goes for everybody. We have a hard time with self-care. We have a hard time dealing with self.
Yep.
And it's those moments we got to look in the mirror and deal with it. So, what have been some issues, Joe, maybe even this year, that you've had to look at yourself in?
I have got into the habit of trying to see myself in every issue, because I don't want to be the type of person that walks around and think that I'm Miss Perfect and I got it all together. And a lot of times we don't self-reflect. We don't think about what we bring to the table the relationship. And when I say relationship, I'm not just talking about the romantic relationship. I'm talking about the friendship, the church relationship,
Love it.
or any type of relationship that you have with anybody, work or whatever. It's important to self-reflect to see what type of energy or what type of person characteristics that you yourself are bringing to the table. And if it's not working out, or you feel yourself, there's always some kind of friction going on, or always some kind of head button. Is it me or is it you? No, let me not even worry about you right now. What am I doing?
What are you doing? Yeah.
What am I doing regarding this situation? You know what I mean? So to narrow it down to just one situation, that's kind of hard for me to do because I try to self-reflect a lot. Doesn't always work, but
That's
you? Is there a certain situation for you?
There's too many situations for me. I'm with you. I think it's just a journey, I think, as we are on this healing journey, and if you guys haven't kind of discovered this month, we're talking about ourselves, self-care, and taking care of who we are, and healing within, to project it on the outside. And that's a journey. I don't think those things happen overnight. And so I feel like each year God, presents something to me, in this journey, whether it's a couple things, whether it's one thing, and I'm still dealing with it like the children of Israel. Who knows, right? But the biggest thing for me, has been self-sabotage. I remember sharing, a revelation even on, Unleash Prayer. Shameless plug, your girl's going to be speaking at the retreat in October. Okay. So all you Tea Time with Liz fans out here, we need you to come support if you are in the Minnesota area. Go and register, under Unleash group, and you will get to be a part of that amazing retreat. I'm telling you, I'm not just saying that as a speaker, I'm saying that as somebody who experienced it herself last year, and truly excited and humbled to be a part of it this year. So all right, back to self-sabotage. Anyway, I shared on, prayer one morning about, let's not self-sabotage our blessings. And sometimes we do that. Because we haven't took the time to heal, we will react the same way. um, we will talk the same way. We will judge something. We will prejudge something. We think we have the wisdom and the knowledge when we are just using perception. And what does perception do? Kill. It's only making a graveyard for all the missed opportunities that you are, really trying to overcome, but you're too afraid. So I think dealing with self sabotage is first and foremost when we are, dealing with conflict or dealing with healing, um, tough areas, and trying to progress into this new person. Is that, are we self sabotaging over fear, over, perception? Are we prejudging, these things, from the traumas that we faced with other people? Like you said, with relationships, we tend to, oh, because he acted this way, I believe this person's going to be the same way. So let me just cut it off. It goes with even our family, oh, here they go again. I ain't got time for it. So let me once again cut it off. But we're never dealing with anything. We just have this big rug full of things, that we think and we've never confronted. So, what has been your journey in confronting, things that maybe you've tried to self sabotage, Joe?
Honestly, I just learned what I didn't learn what self sabotage was, but I just recently um, was educated on what it looks like.
Mm,
So while you were talking, what came to me was one of the things that I try to do to protect myself, which I'm learning is self-sabotage, is
Come on.
um to try to think of the worst outcome of the situation and focus on that, because if I think about the worst outcome, if it happens, I won't be as devastated versus like, surprise,
Yeah.
this is devastating, this is hurtful, I never thought that this was going to happen to me, da 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 da, but it does, so I'm trying to psych myself up to wait for the blow. You know what I
Facts.
mean? And even though the blow might not even happen, here I am thinking about it and coasting on it, just expecting it to happen any day. But guess what else is happening? I am speaking it into existence.
Oh, come on. Faith talk.
Yeah, I'm
Lack
speaking it
of.
into existence because
Yes.
that's all I'm focused on. So now this is what
Yeah.
I'm looking for. Seeking you shall find.
Come on. And you will find it.
And you will find
And
it.
you will find it.
So it is a mental battle, because you try to keep yourself from being hurt. Nobody wants to be hurt. Nobody wants that feeling. It doesn't feel good. So you try to protect yourself from feeling that hurt, that devastation. But at the same time, when you do that, you're missing out on the beauty that's in front of you.
So much. So much.
Yes.
I totally remember that I guess revelation of when you've overthought or you obsess yourself in something because you're so afraid of having to deal with the hurt and having to deal with the pain, like you were talking. I remember when I was going through my separation and divorce, and I was, playing PI, personal investigator, okay? And trying to figure out what the person's next move was and who they with, and all this stuff. And something just came to me, was like, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. Time is something you can never get back.
Never.
And therefore, do you really want to say for the last 2 years I've been playing PI, ain't getting paid for it?
Get paid for it.
And then, like you just said, then you find stuff that you don't really want to find, and you're dealing with something even the more, right?
Like, what are you doing with that information?
Exactly. What are you doing with the information? So you can go back and yell at the person and play the victim?
Yes, and then create even more hurt and wounds for yourself. What are you doing with that information?
What are we doing? What are we doing, people? What are we doing? It's not you, it's me. That's what we're not doing. It's me. And so that should be, once again, that was the red flag. That was the, okay, listen, I'm not about to give this person, once again, you've allowed this person to have that much control, that much, reign in your life.
Say that again for the people in the back.
You want me to say it again?
For the people in the back.
You've allowed this person to have that much control, that much reign in your life to where you aren't living. You should never allow anybody that much control unless his name is Jesus.
Jesus, come on. You are preaching in here.
Literally, his name is G-O-D.
It's too early for you to be preaching right now. Come on.
I'm just saying. So that is where we mess up. We've allowed, because that's where and I've been hearing this lately, is that we have idolized people. We have made covenants with things and people that have taken the place of God, and this is where we are messing up in this battle of, it's not you, it's me, because we are trying to make it them, and we don't want to see the me.
It's so hard to see your reflection at times.
It
It's
is,
hard.
sis. It is.
It's
Take the makeup off and everything else, and it's
yes. Like,
listen, it's
just
real, right?
be vulnerable with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Like, okay. And sometimes you really have to dissect that thing. Like, okay,
Facts.
this person went to the store and said they were buying a carton of milk. It don't take this long for them to come back from the store
Well,
to grab one. Okay, so why right there your brain will be like, okay, what are they doing? Where are they at? Who are they with? You know, that right there is should be a flag in your head and like, okay, what is going on inside of me to
inside
make
of
me immediately go to that thought of trust, or I don't trust this person to do what he said, or I don't trust that they're doing what they said they're doing, or being who with who excuse me, I can't talk, being with who they say they are with. Then you're sitting there struggling and worried and stressed and ready to cry and cuss them out when they get back.
no, seriously.
And then he might have stopped
Seriously.
by the corner store to get you some flowers on the way back. That's what took him so
Listen,
long.
and you be looking like a whole idiot. A whole idiot.
But
Lord,
now you ready to
using that word,
a
but
whole fight. And that wasn't him. It was you. That was me. It's me. It's not you. It's me. So I have to figure out what's going on. What happened to me in my past that is allowing me to go there immediately. I don't
yeah,
want to always think the negative first.
fact.
So I need healing in that place. I need to process this and figure out what it's from and how I can get past it without having to directly go straight to the negative thought.
Right. And I like you said, this is a universal thing. So just not just once again in the intimate field, but in all relationships, whether it's maybe it's a co-parenting situation, trying not to take on the old feelings and using that perception of, oh, they're trying to make me look like this, or they're trying to make me feel like that, or leave me out, and whatever the case may be, when you are just triggered.
Yep.
And all you have to do, literally all we have to do, is have a conversation. It's that simple, people. It's that simple. why
Man.
why do you think that is? Why do you think it's so hard for us to have the conversation? Just ask. Why do you think that is, Joe?
I don't know because
Well, if you're out there listening, tell us, why do you think it's hard for us to have conversations? But go ahead, Joe. What were you going to say?
maybe it's because it means we're vulnerable. It's showing our vulnerable spot.
Mm,
And a lot of people don't like to be vulnerable. A lot of people don't like to show their softer side, or you hurt me, or I'm hurt because, or how you do. Why can't I talk tonight? Let's talk
all
about.
right, so take your time, sis. Take your time.
But how what that person's actions did to hurt you,
Yeah,
you're being vulnerable to talk to that person. Be like, you know what? When you did this and that and the other, when that hurt my feelings,
yeah,
and that may not have been the person's intention, but then you guys are talking about it, you're talking over it, and then they can see if it's them that created the hurt, or if it's you. It's me. It's not you, it's me.
it's me.
But you have to be able to communicate that. You have to be able to learn yourself and communicate that.
And I think that's that's the hard part, right? Finding the words to be vulnerable without saying it in anger. Because we're so quick to say it in anger and say it from the hurtful place. But if we sat with it for a moment to say, okay, why did this trigger me? Oh, this was the situation before, or maybe you still don't know. I don't know why, every time a man tries to get close, I immediately want to run away.
Right.
Like I don't know why every time, my sister calls me, I don't feel like talking. Like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to figure out what it is. You got to take a self, like you said, a self-reflection. And sometimes you have to go down memory lane. You have to go down through your past and deal with the little person that you never dealt with.
Mm.
Um, they always say, you got to go visit your little girl, or you got to go visit your little boy, and figure out who word cursed you, who who damaged you. You know, every time I see somebody with an attitude, I promise you this, that's like mad upset in the community, I just want to go up to them and hug them and just be like, "Who hurt you?" Because, and
Right.
I don't mean that to be
No,
mean,
you're
right?
right, because
But
it stems from
because
somewhere else.
there's something inside of you that somebody did. They didn't mean to, and you
Mhm.
were able to even have the conversation. And I think that even, I mean, we could talk about this even from a grieving point. Some of us haven't been able to have the conversation with somebody who's passed and been able to share those feelings. And so now it's all internally, and so now everything is snappy and issue, and whatever the case may be, but it doesn't have to be that way.
And
You
then
go ahead.
you know what else? People will start to walk around like they feel like they're walking on eggshells when they're around you because they don't want to trigger you or set you off. And I know that it's okay for us to have that communication with somebody of what you've been through in the past, but at the same time, when having that conversation, you also need to analyze it yourself so you can get past it, so you can heal in that area. Because if not, then you're giving that burden to somebody else. Now it's not fair to them that they have to walk on eggshells. Oh, I better not say that because that might make her mad or that might hurt her, or I better not do this because that might hurt him, or he might say something, he might snap. That's not fair to that person because they generally want to spend time with you, but now they have to walk on eggshells because you're not at a place of healing. Some people are willing to do that. I mean, it's okay for somebody to do that, but if you think about it,
Yeah,
that's not fair to them.
it's not.
So
Absolutely.
we really have to self-reflect and think about the things that hurt us, our triggers, what's going on within us so that we can be healed, so we can bring something healthy to the table, to the relationship, to the family, to your coworker, to your job. You don't want to be the toxic one at your job, and say, my last job treated me wrong, so I'm just gonna come in here and just do and say what I want to say because y'all don't know what y'all talking about.
That part. No, that's real. That's
Yeah,
real.
where did that
Yeah,
come from? That's toxic,
we definitely take whatever happened and we bring it to the next situation, knowing good and well you weren't able to build anything with it in the past. So why would you bring it to your future?
Hmm. Hmm.
But I want to go back because that's, hang on, that's something else. But let's talk about this because you talked about, people walking around on eggshells, right? And it goes back to self sabotage. Have you ever heard people, like consecutive people, different people, say something about you to you, and you're like in denial of it?
Hmm. Yes. And that can be a negative comment or even a positive comment, you know. And I'll get compliments or constructive criticism. You know what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say. I can't talk to say that.
Constructive criticism. Come
Thank
on.
you.
I
We'll
got
get
you,
it out
Francis.
today.
It's okay. It's all right. I got you.
But
Constructive
yeah,
criticism. Yes.
so it's how you receive it. I had to sit there and think like, why don't I see myself like that? What's going on within me? You know, people say, Jonice, you can sing. I didn't feel like I was a good singer. And I had to sit there and think about it and realize what made me think that. Because at one point I didn't feel that way. But
Yeah.
something had happened along the way that damaged my self-esteem, my confidence. So I had to
Mm,
figure out what it was. And then
yeah.
once I found out what it was, it's just a matter of pressing through it
Right.
because now I notice that when I get up there, I'm frozen and there's that self-sabotage or that trauma that I went through, trying to fight against where God is trying to take me.
No, that's, I love the transparency, okay? Because I'm with you on that exactly. Sometimes the constructive criticism is for our good. What we call tough love. You can call it whatever you want. But sometimes if you're constantly hearing it from other people, I don't think it's a hate. thing. No one's hating on somebody that bad.
Right.
If you're constantly hearing it, right? And I think those are the times where you have to go into your prayer closet. You have to have some meditation moments with God and ask him, okay, Lord, help me to see this that needs to be fixed, that needs to be dealt with. Um, that was actually something recently for myself, if I could be transparent as well. Of course, I pick a field that there's nothing but criticism and critiques when it comes to marketing. And so every time I would speak or create something here, I have full blown anxiety attacks. I mean, to the max, y'all. And I'm presenting these, ideas or these creations, and I'm thinking, okay, somebody's gonna say something horrible.
Yep.
Once again, like you said, we work ourselves up to this negative place. Why? Because before, I have been that person that's been like, be quiet, we don't want to hear what you got to say. Nothing's ever good enough. Or even just the personal learning label that I've been labeled as from my past. Now, I don't claim that anymore, but just always having learning disabilities and different things, thinking that I would never be good enough to be in somebody's corporate America office to present any type of strategy or idea or whatever the case may be, right?
Right.
And so as I've been interning, I've gotten both sides. I've gotten the encouragement side to say, hey, you got something, you have a gift, you're doing great. Like, we need this. And I'm like, really? Me? This girl? That gets you all going, right? But then there's also, hey, I think maybe we could do this a little bit better. I think you could do this. I think we can do that. And I'm just like, they hate me, and I'm nothing. And you go to the extreme. But it does that really define that you're a different person because somebody critiques you or tries to guide you? Because without guidance, we can never become better. If no one ever told us that we had a mark on our face, we would have marks on our face all the time.
All the time.
And I think that there's a scripture that talks about that when it comes to faith. Like, you have to be like the man, or doing the word of God, listening and being a doer of the word of God. That's what it is, right? Is that you can't just listen to God and not have to put the action with it, right? And that goes for healing. You can't just say, oh, I need to be healed from here, and don't think that you don't have to put any action to it.
Faith without works is dead.
Well, come on, we're gonna preach together tonight, okay? So as the Bible says, it says that it's like a man who looks in the mirror and has something on his face, and you walk away like you don't have to fix anything. We do. We have to fix a lot of things. And once again, it's not the other person, but it's actually you that God is trying to figure out who he created from the beginning. All this was toxic and caused us to become somebody we're not. And that's where he's trying to heal us and clean us up so that we can get back in alignment to who he really created us to be. So I know it took a long time to say that, but you spoke it so well about the self-sabotage. Sometimes we self-sabotage ourselves when we don't want to hear other people's self-love, or tough love, excuse me.
Yeah.
We have to be more aware of that it's not always hatred. So
And then kind of to piggyback off of that a little bit,
yeah.
Sometimes when we hear the constructive criticism, we will also think about how somebody else is doing it and compare ourselves to that other person. And that is not who we are. We are a different person completely. If God wanted us to be the same exact person, he wouldn't need two of us. So take the constructive criticism, yes, but look at it, still self-reflect and figure out what you're doing and how you can make it better.
Come on.
So
Literally. That is it. You have to. I love that you pointed that out as well. I'm going to piggyback. We're going to roll with this. We're rolling, okay? We're going to get to the next subject, but the thing is that we tend to sometimes uh like you said, compare ourselves to other people, and and I've heard a quote say that comparison is a thief of all joy, right? That you rob your own self of your own journey, of your own joy, of your own happiness when you try to compare yourself and you try to be yourself. And I even had to ask God, even in this recent season, who my true friends are.
Mm.
And I said, even though there's people I connect with, because I'm a loving people person. Like I love people. I love to make people smile and just bring the joy in the room, right?
Yeah.
But not everybody's your best friend. And not everybody is meant to be in your connection, right? And
Yes.
so I had to pray and I had to ask God. I said, "But Lord, how do I disconnect myself without, because we're good for this, people. We are good for this. We're good to be evil and malicious when it comes to breaking up with anybody, whether it's a family member relationship or intimate, however you choose want to see. Like I'm doing me and you just ain't on this. Like we try to do this big show when we're deeply hurt inside and we don't even know what the self journey is going to look like. But we just know that this person's not supposed to be like it, right? And
Right.
this is the revelation the Lord gave me. He said, Liz, does a kneecap and an elbow
Mm.
connect? And I
Uh-oh.
said, huh? And I said, he said, does a kneecap and an elbow connect? I said, no. And he said, that's because they're not divinely connected. He said, you have some divine connected people
Mm.
and you have some people who are still in the body. It does not mean you have to be mean or malicious to that person and say, hey, you ain't a part of my life, because if we are all part of God's body, we are somehow still connected, but we're just not divinely connected, right? And so that's where, like you're saying, Gina, assignments and relationships, you have to understand who your divine connections are and who your real friends or the real people that you're supposed to be connected to versus people who are just part of the body. And it's okay. You may just know them for the season because you're bent over. I don't know. However you want to look at it. But eventually you got to get back up and start, moving that forearm.
Yeah.
So, whatever the case may be. But that goes once again with looking at yourself. You don't always have to end everything in negativity, and you don't always have to put it back on the other person to just say, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. No, it's okay. We can end peacefully. we
Mm.
can we can walk away peacefully, and I can know that it's not good for me just as well as it's not good for you. I
And
wanted to say that.
and
Yeah.
doing a lot of self-reflection, self-reflecting on what you just said, you'll find yourself knowing that I'm hanging out with the arm, but God didn't call me to be a part of the arm.
Come
He,
on.
he called me to be a part of the leg. So you're in the wrong crowd. So just like you said, you got to know who your people are. And you can't get mad because you're constantly bumping heads with the people of the arm, because you just don't belong.
You don't belong.
You don't belong there. That doesn't mean that they're wrong and you're right. I'm a child of God. I was called to the body of Christ. I am a part of the body of Christ. You guys are doing it wrong. No, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. You're just in the wrong circle. Go back to the leg. Go find. There you go. Knowing your place.
Come on. Know your place. Hey, Miss Christina. Hello. But no, that goes back to another point about it's not you, it's me. We in reflecting on relationships that we have, sometimes we do need to take that moment to reflect, especially if God is trying to heal us in certain places. Is that, are you in this relationship, did we meet, did we connect off of my brokenness and your brokenness?
Hmm.
And is this relationship going anywhere? Are we bettering each other? Are we,
That
just
part.
keeping each other in the same space? And if I try to be better, are you keeping me down? And vice versa. Or if you're trying to go better, am I keeping you back? I think we have to be very careful that we aren't feeding ourselves and entertaining, I should say, more or less, toxic relationships,
Hmm.
because they are no good for your healing journey. As yes, as Coach Gina says, trauma bonding. There we go.
Wow. There's a title for it. I just
Come on, come
so
on, and that is why she's the life coach out here. Okay. Um, but that's exactly it, trauma bonding. And so therefore, when there's no more trauma, or you are making efforts to heal, that you're not keeping yourself away
bump heads.
um from your wholeness because you want to be with somebody. I think that is another journey that it can be hard. It can be hard because you feel like you are losing a lot of friends or people, but I promise you, the Lord, he provides good
Woo.
friends, great
Yes.
friends, the right friends. Go
And
ahead.
it's hard to, just like you just said, it is hard to kind of let go of the people and where you were at. But when God is healing you and that they're not looking to grow or get healing, then guess what? They're just going to pull you down. So it's okay to separate yourself and say, you know what? I'm a completely different person. I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to get to where God wants me. I'm trying to get to my healing. I can't be around all this toxicity and this negativity. So you have to know when it's time to cut ties. And when you cut ties, God will place people in your life that is on the same wavelength as you, that is on the same spiritual level as you, or that sees you for where you are and where God is trying to take you, and they will help pull you up and say, you know what, you're not where you're supposed to be, but we gonna help you get there. We gonna help you
Listen,
get there, ma'am. We gonna help
listen.
you get there, sir.
Okay. Listen, I call them nurses in the spirit. Okay.
Yes.
Listen, just like, how it is in the hospital, you go from ICU to another place, and then they got you on the outpatient, and, pretty soon you just got, home visits or whatever the case may be. And that's really how it is spiritually. God will send, like you said, the right people in the right time to help you heal and to help you move forward. There have been plenty of people just in seasons that I've been in connection with, and they were just there for the season to help me to grow, to be stable, to get to a place of wholeness. Um,
Woo.
so that I could be able to run this race again, because sis was sick. Sis was not good. Sis was on her verge back, but God, like you said, he will provide. And that's what I love. When you let God pick your friends, you don't have to worry about fights. Okay.
And you really have to pray and ask God to show you who's there seasonally and who's there permanently.
Yes, I think Coach Gina said that earlier up here. You got to know your assignments versus relationships. Okay.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
is facts. That
Yes.
is facts. You got to know that.
It's true that people do come into your life for a season. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person or that you guys have to even end on bad terms, but it's a season, meaning it's a stepping stone to help you get where you need to go. So trying to linger on in that place, you are, if you, so a lot of times, majority of the times, you can feel, okay, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get this place and this person is here. So let me figure out what I need to learn in this season right now and move on.
She's right though. Yeah, listen, and you find out you're in the wrong marriage. Lord Jesus.
I'm about to throw something at you, Gina.
That is facts. And that is facts out here.
Gina's
That is
preaching
facts.
in the comments.
No, and I think a lot of us have had to learn this the hard way.
Yep.
And thank you all for your transparency tonight as well with us. That it's not an easy journey to See, now I'm stuttering. It's not easy to figure out which one is which, because sometimes it could just fit so well to what you want it to be. And but that's why we have to constantly keep God at the forefront, so He can direct our steps.
I,
Um,
I actually learned that it's hard to tell. I mean, to tell the difference, it shouldn't be so much of a push to try to get this person to fit in where they
mm,
belong. When
that's
you have
good.
a lot of resistance and a lot of pushing and bumping heads and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, there when you're dealing with another human being, there's always going to be something. You're going to argue, not get along with something. But there shouldn't be that much resistance. It should come as just naturally and it'll just flow. And God will just lead and guide you in that relationship, that friendship, that job. It's just there's a certain peace that comes with it.
Listen, a whole piece. Do you hear me? Listen, can I just testify for a second? Because you just hit something that once again, the Lord showed your girl this week that sometimes, and we've probably heard this plenty of times, right? Is that, those denials or those rejections or those letting goes are really for our protection, right? And we are steady asking. We listen, I think we got that scripture down, pray without ceasing. I think we got that. We got that down. Okay. Now are we praying the right thing? Are we asking the right thing? Because a lot of times we will continuously ask God for something that God keeps telling us, no, that's not good for you. No, that's not what I want for you. No, that's gonna mess you up. you know
Yep.
and yet we sit here and we study cry and we study sometimes even take on um rejection, and we just like, no one wants me, no one wants this.
Wow.
And the Lord showed me, He's like, it's not rejection, I'm protecting you. And that's the illusion, that's the devil's advocate, or the devil's tactic, excuse me, of getting us to bring and to blind us with rejection.
Mm,
He's trying to keep us in a place of loneliness, that no one wants us, that we're not good enough for God and all these things. But then the Lord shows me, He's like, not only am I protecting you from things that don't deserve you and the things that you should not have in your life right now, Liz, but I'm also trying to help you see that there is so much more on the horizon,
wow.
and that you're not lost. Because I that spirit of rejection, sis, let's be real, that is a hard one to overcome when you have not felt secure, or you have not felt um that you are whole somewhere, or you have a place of security. You will feel like you are always lost. And so every time you're constantly trying to feel this void of acceptance somewhere. And so then you put on this spirit of rejection, and now you got all these things. You got insecurities, you got your wanderingness, what they
Just
call
all
the
over the
orphan spirit.
place.
And then now you're dealing with rejection, and then all this stuff. And the Lord just had to sit me down, and He said, girl, you are not lost, you are found, and you are set,
Ooh,
and
come
you are
on.
fine. He said, just open your eyes. Just open your eyes for a second. And I said, okay, God, I hear you loud and clear. Loud and clear. Thank you. And by the way, thank you. Sorry about that. Let me dry these tears. And thank you. Thank you real quick.
Right. And
Thank you.
and it's facts. It's facts because of what he just spoke over you. That's what I see when I look at you, you know? So
Oh,
then you have to think like, okay, where is this thought coming from? Where did this rejection come from? Because I don't want to feel this way every time I run into a situation or something I think is going on when it may not even be going on. So yeah, yeah.
no, and I mean that even goes to like parents. We wonder why, why I didn't have a dad, or why I didn't have a mom, or why am I not close with these people? But we never know what God is protecting us from. And not to say that these people are bad,
It's
okay?
offering time in the temple.
Stop, girl, stop. But I'm just saying, like, we don't know what these people have inside of them that could transfer on to us. Once again, we're already dealing with traumas our own selves from our own decisions.
Yes.
Then here once again, God is trying to protect us from even collecting even more. So we have to just take the moment, and even if you haven't, as you are self-reflecting, thank God for all the times He's protected you from even more traumas. Um, we were talking before the show about, sometimes things look the same way, um of situations that has happened to us in our traumas, but you have to believe and know that you're whole. You have to know that you're healed, and you'll never know that until you continue to face this type of situation, and you face it head on, and you don't react, and you don't back down, and you don't accept those people's insecurities and issues and problems.
Right.
But you can walk away with, like, the peace that you were saying. That's the whole approach, regardless of who you're dealing with, being able to walk away in peace,
Mhm.
knowing that you did your best and the rest is in God's hands. So, um, let me digress, because I will get started all over again.
So I got a question for you.
Yes.
How do you gauge what is your trauma speaking versus what is red flags coming from the other party?
Oh, see, now this is deep. Y'all gonna have to help us out on this one. Um, I think, like I just said, I think it has to go with facing similar situations. Now, depending on the situation, right? Like, um, now if it's, molestation, you're not going to want to be in a closed room with, a man by yourself, right? Now that's a different situation. But if it's
The situation is real though.
but if let's say it's being honest, or being, let's go back to being vulnerable, right? Um, what if you were vulnerable with somebody, and every time you were open and honest about how you felt, all they did was reject you, or they turned it on you
Hmm.
and made you feel as though you were nothing. So then now you internalize all your feelings, because you feel like everybody's going to do that and you don't want to lose nobody. I feel like those are the types of situations where you have to say, no, that's not true. If you can't accept how I feel, I'm not putting it on you. And I think we
Mhm.
also too have to be careful how we use those words to address things, right?
Mhm.
That I'm feeling a certain type of way, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Can you help me to understand,
That's
like,
good.
what you meant by this, or
That's good.
what was really going on that day? Maybe you were having a bad day and I didn't know, and I apologize, but I did take it this way, and just, like I said, help me understand. I think that's how you know you're whole. But when you come to somebody and be like, you didn't have to say that to me, you didn't have to, and you always catching the attitude, and I'm tired of dealing with, like, we just blow up. That you haven't dealt with your issue. So what would you say to that, though?
I agree with you on what you just said. I'm going to back it up just a little bit though, because before we even, for me, this is my personal experience. Before I even get to the place where I feel like I need to bring it to you, I still have to self-reflect and say, okay, Jonisha, is this something that you have dealt with in the past and now it's bringing up this anxiety,
That's good.
which will cause me to react and behave a certain way towards this person, which they probably don't even deserve. And if
Yeah.
that's the case, then Jonisha, you need to just calm down a moment, process these thoughts, figure out where it's coming from, and if it's accurate, go ahead and have that conversation, because there are some conversations that you do need to have, like that's a red flag in a situation, in a relationship. But you have to make sure when you approach it, to approach it from a place where you're not pushing off your past and what you've been through
That's
in the
good.
matter, because all you
Okay.
guys are going to do is just your trauma is going to bump heads with that with the red flag, and here you got a toxic relationship going on.
There we have it.
So
There we have it. And that's it. And
yes.
then we wonder why we're in toxic situations. Huh?
Woo.
But so a couple of our viewers said, of course, Miss Gina, she gives us the definition. She said, red flags are behaviors you've been affected by or seen in previous relationships. And that is so true. You know, we got red flags looking like a carnival out here all the time. Hey, Mr. Devin, he says he agrees he's had some of those same mistakes in the past as well. And Miss Christina says a gauge is healing. Yes. Or is that a God? Is that gauge? Yeah, that's gauge, right? Maybe I'm not reading that right, but um, he said I'm taking notes here. That's awesome. But yes, but this is a journey. I just want everybody to make sure that they do give themselves grace. I mean, I could tell you myself, I'm 39 years old, and I started this healing journey about the age of 26,
Mhm.
and yet still journeying, um,
Process.
and but yet I'm grateful for the journey, right? And I can only share and be transparent, and as well as Joe, we just want to be a light in this healing journey because it is not easy, and you do need your spiritual nurses, sisters, brothers in this journey to help you realize that you can make it. There is life, there is joy, there is peace, there is happiness, all the things that you desire. It is still possible after your traumas, after your past mistakes, after your issues, all of that, right? But it does start with you. And so we know that it has to start with you taking a look at yourself. So, Joe, is there anything else, though, tonight you wanted to say to the people, address, let them know?
Yeah. Um, I'm gonna talk about self-reflection a little bit. You know, it's easy. No, I'm not even gonna say it's easy. It's not easy to self-reflect. You
Mhm.
know, we said that earlier, that it's hard to see that you're the person that's causing these issues, and
Yeah.
um you're the person who's toxic. It's a hard revelation to come by, so
Well,
as you said, give yourself some grace. And once you realize that it's not you, it's me, once you realize that you're the person, give yourself some grace and know that the healing and deliverance does not happen overnight. Sometimes it's a process, and sometimes you need to dig deep to find the root of that thing and
so
get that thing
over.
pulled.
Yes. Come on.
Then
Literally.
once it's pulled out, then it needs to be replaced with peaceful things and things of God. And that's gonna take that can take time. That
Yeah.
can take time. It depends on how rooted it is and the how big the issue is. But give yourself some grace, but definitely self-reflect, because it's not always the other person.
No, that's good. And that even brings a point to, you know, learning how to deal with those new places that God replenishes. Um, because we don't want to, as we have said earlier, self-sabotage something just because we don't know what it looks like or don't know how to deal with it. He will lead you, he will guide you, he will help you along the way, and he will show you the
Mhm.
toxic people versus whole people. I've looked up what wholeness means. They're like, what does it really mean to be a whole person? Everybody always talks about it, right? But it's really in a place of confidence and maturity. It's not to say that you won't have hard times and you won't have difficult situations. And I think every person that's had to deal with a hard time, trauma, whatever the case may be, you've had to face something that's hurt you again in life, right? And that wasn't easy, but you were able to deal with it, right? Now, there are times where you probably had to deal with it in your old view of hurt versus your new view of healing, but nevertheless, it's something that's just going to naturally happen anyway, and so you just have to know how to like we said, give yourself grace through this process, through this journey, that God will mature you and give you the confidence to making you whole. You're able to be flexible. You're able to be transparent. You're able to take a moment and say, hey, you know what? I think I'm not ready to have this conversation. Can I call you tomorrow? And
That's
take
good.
a moment to have a conversation with the Lord about yourself. Huh?
That's good.
You don't always have to react in the moment. And that's being honest with yourself. You have to know your triggers. And yes, you can be open with somebody and say, hey, when you do this, it triggers me, but you can't change that person.
You know what? And another way that you can tell that you're on a different level of healing, you're not at the same place where you were before, is you'll start to see those
Yes.
behaviors on other people, and you'll want to go hang out with people who you used to hang out with, but then once they get to talking and saying things that used to keep you bound, it just doesn't sit right with you, and you'd be like, I don't even want to hear this right now, and you end up removing yourself from the conversation. But you start to notice and pick up on things that you didn't notice before, because you'd be right in the group with them, sobbing, oh, what was me, or
It's a whole pretty party out here, okay?
right, instead of be like, you know what, I've got healed from that place. I'm not gonna sit up here and just have this
Enjoy it.
conversation.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm not going to entertain it. You won't entertain it, but you will look at it from a different view. Now you're looking at it from a healed place, and you're saying to yourself, I'm not going to go back there to where God has already healed me from. And I'm still in my healing process. So I'm going to protect where I am now and just keep it pushing.
Facts. So, well, saints of God, men and women, we thank you tonight for this great conversation. We thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you all for the comments tonight. We appreciate you joining in the conversation once again. We hope that you enjoyed this tea that has transformed, empowered, and assured you that you are definitely God's chosen, God's child, God's one and only, to know that there is life more abundantly for you. So we hope that you will join us next time on Tea Time, which will be not next week, but the week after, our third Monday of the month. That will be on Self-Hate No Cap. I think we've all had some self-hate moments and had some self-hate talk. And we have a special guest that is going to help us address some of these issues. So definitely stay tuned for this month as we talk about self-care. We'll also be having a bonus episode talking about even helping the outside of us with some fashion tips from some great guests as well. So stay tuned for them. Just looking forward to a great second half of the season. So thank you all again. We hope to see you next time on Tea Time.